Good evening. We don't appear to have a chairman of occasion here.
Yes.
Perhaps this was designed to be an informal occasion. I think greetings are in order for the chairman of the Central Planning Committee. They are in order for my dear wife, the one and only professor of Benue State, our Deputy DG, Chief Olofu, distinguished Mama Senator at the other end, Philip, our CPC chairman. As Chief Akwere, she left, I saw him at the other end of the table a while ago. Anyway, I can't see him again. Unfortunately, we also did not introduce the category of people who are here, so I don't know how to.
Yes.
I think there should have been some form of acknowledgement of, if not individuals, interest groups that are represented here today, and that would have made better sense for me to be able to respond. You know, when you know your audience, you can talk to them better.
Yes.
And I don't know who is here. And courtesy of Fidel Shamel, I cannot even see beyond this light. So, but anyhow, permit me to say a very good evening to everybody here. You're welcome to this occasion. Today's occasion was designed primarily for two reasons. The first reason was to have an interaction with the media. Since I stepped out in the PDP to contest for the office of the governor, I have not had this kind of interaction with the media in Benue State. And I have a story to tell, and the only people who can tell that story are the media. I can't tell that story myself, and until I tell them that story, they won't be able to tell anybody else. So that was the main reason for this forum. And then we realized that we had a committee of experts, technocrats, professionals, academics, administrators, politicians. We had that committee to look at socio-economic security situation, a panoramic view of Benue, to evaluate historical perspective. Look at our history, where we are coming from, and project where we want to be, where we are going to. Somebody said, if you don't know your history, you won't know your future. So this committee was mainly motivated by a question somebody asked me. About a year ago or 2 years ago, when I rejoined the PDP, somebody asked me on Facebook, somebody sent me, well, he inboxed me. He said, Dr. Angya, what do you have to offer the people of Benue State? You want to be governor of Benue State. What do you want to offer the people of Benue State? And that set me thinking. Truly, if you want to be governor of Benue State, or you want to be anything, you aspire to be something, you must envision what you have to offer, what you want to do when you get to that position. Of course, I have ideas about what I want to do. I had ideas, I still have ideas. But then I realized that the scope of governance of Benue is very big. And to imagine that your ideas and your thoughts alone can meet every challenge of the state, or meet every requirement or every expectation of the state, that would be living in a fool's paradise. It takes more than one person, 2, 3, to be able to conceptualize and imagine what would impact the state positively. And so, arising from that question, and with the background and knowledge of what I envision and would want to see Benue become, I decided to empanel a committee of experts in the different fields, professors, academics, industrialists, both within Nigeria and abroad. And I charged them to take a holistic look at Benue, to look at Benue historically, review our past administrations, see what they had been able to achieve, see their challenges, and reimagine how we can overcome challenges that have been faced by the different people who have had the opportunity to rule Benue. Where they have done very well, see how we can use that as a stepping stone to do better. Where they have had challenges they've not been able to achieve, so to overcome, we try to find out why they've not been able to overcome those challenges. But overall, to see how we can build on the efforts of the about, I think we had, how many military administrators? You can't take that away from our history also. And then we've had so far about 5 civilian governors of Benue origin. All this have consistently been building blocks and different layers of the building called Benue State. And so if you desire to come, you can only put your block on the blocks that have been laid before you. So in order to be able to put the block perfectly, you need to understand the architecture and the design. Even if you want to change the design, you must understand the original design of the designer of the building. So we put together this committee to try and see why we have not been able to achieve the impacts that we want to achieve for Benue over the years. Why people who have come before us have had challenges they have not been able to surmount, and to see how and what we can do differently to surmount those challenges that have become endemic. So I charged this committee, I gave them thematic areas to look at, which is what the list of the areas you have been hearing about: security, health, education, ICT, agriculture, sports, culture, women and religion, and all of that. Sorry, somebody talking to me? So we charge them to look at the whole scope of our socioeconomic and security engagements. And I was particularly yes, so the committee, hello, can we have one house? So this committee had been working for the last 3 or 4 months, and they came out with this document in February. Of course, it's a document that is shaping our vision and mission for Benue State. as an aspirant, it's my own views and notion of what I would want to see Benue become, and perhaps to let you gentlemen know that I'm not just asking to be governor of Benue State, but I have thoughts about how we can take Benue from where our dear governor will leave it and take it forward, so that an enlightened interest group like you, the media, will come to understand that we are coming with the full grasp of the challenges and the job at hand, and we understand the scope and the weight of what we are going to face, and we are prepared and ready to confront that challenge should we be given the opportunity. Whilst we have been scripting this document, you know that currently, and it has become like some, I don't know how to put it, the issues of insecurity, herdsmen attacks on Benue. It has become an everyday thing. It is like wave after wave after wave after wave. Those people have energy. It's like they don't take a break from attacking Benue. Every day you wake up, there's a story about another killing. Every day you wake up, people are even numb. People have stopped being shocked at the amount of killings in Benue State. And those people don't relax. They don't get tired of blood. Every day you wake up, you hear about it. And for me, it has been very worrisome on one or two fronts. Number one, as an individual, they read part of my profile here. My mother comes from this side of Benue State, the Minda side. And this is the most affected side, most impacted by the Fulani killings. They have turned it into killing fields. And every day, one of my relatives or cousins or uncles or somebody calls and says, today again it has happened. 30 people were killed, 20 people were killed. Even if I like it or not, it's affecting me personally. I can't count the number of personal blood relatives, first cousins or uncles or aunties that have been killed. So it affects me personally, and it's much more traumatizing, because I have what the chairman of the drafting committee did not tell you was that I have had extensive training in security matters by the federal government. I've worked in the federal civil service, and as part of my career and training, I was trained at the highest security institute in this country. I spent about a year in training by the federal government at the Institute for Security Studies. If you see, they write my name and they put FSI. When you qualify from the institution, you become a fellow of the Security Institute. I was sent there for the training in 2017 through to 2018, and by 2017, that was the height, or perhaps when this Fulani invasion was at its highest peak in Benue State. I think it was in January of 2018 that we buried about 73 people. January of 2018. Again in April of 2018, another massive attack. I think it was in April they killed the priest. Again last year, there was a major attack, and every time these things happen, I write a lot of grammar. I complain, I cry, I weep, I wail, I gnash my teeth, and tell the federal government all sorts of things. Of course, our governor has never gone to sleep on this issue. And the more you cry and beg, the more they attack and kill. Down to the last one, the invasion, a unit of the Nigerian army invading a civilian population, an unarmed civilian population in a state. Its own citizens, unarmed citizens, attacking them with gunboats, helicopter gunboats, what do you call these people who, parachuters, bombs, and all that. It's like we have become orphans in this country. Like Benue State citizens are fatherless. Our governor, for a very long time, was a lonely voice in the wilderness. Until they started hitting other parts of the country. Before other governors also started realizing that, look, what this man had been saying for 8 years, there is something in this story. And so, when this situation has persisted to this level, we thought that we have crafted a strategy. We have crafted a policy, a strategy to try to build on what our governor is doing to sustain it. And this is the right moment for us to come out and make a statement that, look, we are not just mouthing condemnation of herdsmen attacks, all manner of insecurity, vagabonds and bandits that are taking advantage of Fulani herdsmen to destroy almost all of Benue's socio-political economy. You want to go to Sankara and talk about it. Where do you want to talk about it? Is it the army invasion you want to talk about? So we thought that unveiling this document, particularly that we have an extensive study, evaluation, assessment, and understanding of the security problems, and should we be given the opportunity, we will certainly build on what Governor Otom is doing in terms of security. Now, all these thoughts had been in my mind, and then I came across an essay. Somebody just posted that essay to me on my WhatsApp page, and she didn't say who the author was. And that essay spoke to my heart. It spoke to my heart about our security situation and about what somebody who is wishing to rule Benue in 2023 should be thinking about and should be equipped with. And I told my wife, look, I like this and I want to use this message to talk to people. But as an academic, I do not know who is the author of this piece. And so we went to the internet to search for who wrote that piece. And we found one gentleman who wrote that piece, was Imo Botswan, Simon Imo Botswan. I haven't met him, but I'm sure that a lot of you know him. He wrote a fantastic piece which resonated with my thinking about what we should be thinking, about what we will do, how we will confront the most challenging challenge that we have in Benue. He said, look, true, Benue has a lot of challenges, infrastructure, agriculture, industrialization, and all that. But what tops our challenges now is the security situation. So I will just read what he said. I will paraphrase it because I couldn't reproduce the entire essay. He says, for Benue State, 2023 will be a revalidation of our right to life. 2023, that 2023 that we are all aspiring for, is not just about going to take over and become a governor. It's going to mean much more for the people of Benue State than elective office. It is going to be a revalidation of our right to life. That is our right to be alive. our right to live in our ancestral lands, and our right to our human dignity. That is what 2023 will represent for us. He says Benue 2023 will be squarely and categorically about checking the hydra-headed menace of herdsmen and the regime of insecurity it has found by way of murderous bandits and criminal gangs across the state. And the principal instrument of achieving this will be the open grazing prohibition and ranching establishment law. The principal weapon to check this hydra-headed problem is going to be this anti-grazing law in 2023. The open grazing prohibition and ranching establishment law is not merely about agriculture or its value chain economics. The law is further about the identity, the dignity, and the survival of the Benue man beyond the decade. That anti-grazing law, it touches on the very identity of us as a people. Because right now, our place in Nigeria has been compromised. And only a faithful and effective implementation of that law can restore our identity, our dignity as a people. And then he goes on to say, and this is what I was talking about. In previous election cycles, the electioneering issues centered around the provision of infrastructure, be it physical or intestinal. You know what intestinal means? Stomach infrastructure.
Stomach infrastructure.
So he says in previous election cycles, it was either about physical infrastructure or about stomach infrastructure. However, one critical issue will be dominant in the campaigns and the vote quest: the strategic herdsmen-powered insecurity. This is because without removing the bloody killer herdsman signature on the Benue landscape, it will be impossible to eliminate the local misguided hoodlums who have turned the Sankara axis of the state into a virtual gangland, and we know that without peace, no meaningful development can take place. The existential threat of the herdsmen and bloodthirsty bandits is real to every Benue person. This is true. Be you a Tulo, Idoma, Igede, Igbo, or Tiv, whether you are APC or PDP members, the herdsmen are non-partisan. They kill without asking which party you belong to. They kill without asking whether you are an Igbo man or you are a Tiv man. They are bloodthirsty. They just kill anything in front of them in Benue. The grim truth is that when the terrorists invade the ancestral homesteads from Niger, Mali, Chad, Sudan, Libya, or even Iraq, they do not ask for the evidence of political affiliation. They simply sneak into homes in the dead of the night, murdering, maiming, burning, looting, and dispossessing. This is why in the several and ever-expanding IDPs in the state, one will find haggard and melancholic APC, PDP, ABGA members, all united by pain and collectively painting living portraits of abandonment, shame, misery, trauma, hopelessness, and depression. So this piece that he wrote touched me. And I think that Benue people should demand. There is no sense of entitlement in wanting to be a governor. Nobody is entitled to it. Nobody is entitled to it. It's not even a matter of deserving, because it's not your inheritance. It's a matter of having the ability and the capacity to get the work done. So today, I had the intention of telling you about myself, about the experience I've acquired, about the knowledge I have, about the exposure I have. So much about me that you don't know about. But the main issue and focus today is how do we solve this intractable problem? That from the look of things will survive our governor in office. With the way the federal government is looking at us and the way the thing is going on in this country, because only yesterday or 2 days ago, my daughter is schooling at a secondary school in Abuja. I was asked to come and pick my daughter from the school because the terrorist Fulani headsmen have threatened and have started reaching schools in the Federal Capital Territory. So I went and I picked my daughter from a Catholic, well-protected secondary school. So, my brother, it is no longer just about Benue. Of course, we bear the brunt. We bear the brunt because economic activities have been completely crippled in Benue. The life that we used to know no longer exists. So we don't know when this is going to end. But we must be prepared to confront it. I'm happy and elated because as a security expert who has been trained by the government, I know what needs to be done. And I was always worried that these people have free access into Benue. They can start from the north of Benue through the length of Benue to the south, and nobody stops them. Once a Benue man hears Fulani, they start running. And the only one who survives is the one who ran faster. They start from the west and they run through to the east. But when I heard our governor announce the revitalization of the vigilante organization, who are empowered by law to carry arms, to revitalize them, to recruit them, to strengthen them, to act as a defensive force, my heart began to see a little bit of joy. So, for now, our own is to support our governor, to work with him, to continue on that journey of trying to recover Benue from these bandits. I think I will leave it at that and congratulate the committee for this wonderful job they have done. The committee has proven beyond reasonable doubt that there are still men of honor, integrity, and dignity in Benue State who think well of Benue and who are willing to do the hard work without asking for a reward. Because when I was struggling with this issue and I needed to put together a team to help me put together this document, the issue was, how are you going to finance this sort of work? Because like you all know, I'm not in any government office where I'm sitting on any pile of money. I don't have access to government funds. I'm fighting this fight as an outsider. So, when I called on these gentlemen, they told me they wanted to be part of the history-making, solution-profiling team. And let me digress a bit. I saw divine divine providence and intervention in what we were doing. I never used to take very seriously when people said the Lord spoke to me. I didn't take it seriously, but I'm beginning to see visions.
Hallelujah.
Now, when I put together this committee, I asked them to work on the committee. I wanted to name Pharmacist John Angya. I wanted to name him the chairman of the committee because some of the members are in America, some in the UK, some in Abuja. Most of them are professors and all that. I needed an administrator with an in-depth knowledge of administration and people management to coordinate this team. And you know, John Angya has done everything an administrator can do in government in Benue State. He has been chairman of local government, he has been commissioner, he's chairman of boards and everything. So I wanted to make him the chairman, but then I was afraid of a riot within the committee. You know, academics, educated people, they will say he's not a professor, or he's not a PhD, or he's not that. So in as much as I wanted him to be chairman, caution told me to back away. So when I inaugurated the committee, I told them, you are free to select your chairman. And you won't believe it, on their inaugural meeting, he was not present in the meeting. And they nominated him the chairman. So I said, hallelujah. I said, hallelujah. I can see the hand of God in this project. And they've been able to bring it out, and they worked pro bono, without a fee. And they finished the work day and night, holding virtual meetings with people overseas, physical meetings, people overseas, because we think that we must reach out beyond the borders of Benue and perhaps Nigeria to tap into networks and partnerships across the world so that we can bring back home, not take away from home, bring back home. And so we need to, at the earliest opportunity, to begin to make these people take ownership of our project and our challenges. So we did that. So they were holding these meetings for about 3 or 4 months, and then they came out with this piece of paper. The document is about 70 or 80 pages. The details, what he read to you is just an executive summary. Of course, you know, for so many reasons, you cannot expose the working details of this document. But to let you know that these are thinking people, that we have thought out this problem and this situation, and we are prepared to take on the enormous responsibility of attacking this problem. So that is the essence of giving you a brief of the contents, but the document itself is about 80 pages. And should we have the opportunity to take on the monster that is confronting us, then we'll also expose the weapons that we have to shoot it down.
Amen.
So I thank the chairman, I thank his team. Each and every one of them has been wonderful. The secretary, Dr. Grace, who is an astrophysicist. I didn't know women read such subjects. An astrophysicist, anything that has to do with physics, nuclear physics, blah, 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 blah. And yet she was the secretary working on this document. And so if you look at the ICT, you look at areas of electricity power generation, those are well-researched and resourced presentations with ideas about how we can generate electricity in Benue State and we can sell it to the national grid, the excess, so that we can sustain industrial establishment in Benue State. One of the greatest problems we have We talk about so many things, but one of the fundamental issues about industrialization, you must have steady and sufficient supply of electricity.
Yes.
That is what we don't have in Benue State. Plateau State has been generating electricity for over 30 years.
Yeah.
That is why, in spite of the attempts by the Fulanis to destroy Jos, and that state is still thriving because they have here the cost